Jesus said, love each other as I have loved you. That's how I'm trying to live my life right now. Connect with as many people as I can, create health, happiness, and prosperity for as many people as I can, spread the love.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Terry Lancaster. Previously, episode 895 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 3 years, 1 month, 11 days, and 45 minutes since we last had that recorded conversation. That was then, this is now. Terry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm up. It's a beautiful day in Tennessee. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. That's about all I can ask for.
Your audio quality is pristine. Your vocals, amazing.
I've been speaking into a microphone a long time.
Yeah, tell us about that. How has that evolved from the last time we spoke?
Well, I think the last time we spoke 3 years ago, 11 months, whenever that was, I had just written a book called Better Self-Help for the Rest of Us. And I was on a kind of this world tour of doing podcasts. I did 60, 70, 80 podcasts in the course of that year. That was in 2016 is when I was doing that. And I enjoyed it so much. And I'm an old disc jockey. I come from a radio background. I was a disc jockey in college. That's how I paid my way through college. And it kind of scratched the itch in my head about talking into a microphone again. So after I did your podcast and 60, 70 other podcasts, I decided I'm going to start my own podcast. So I started my own show where I've been interviewing authors and speakers and sales professionals and entrepreneurs. And I've been doing that now for almost 3 years. So interviewing lots of folks myself. So you inspired me to tear off a chunk and bite into it and get going with my own thing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, what's the name of the podcast?
It is called the Get You Some Radio Show. And
it sounds Southern.
It is Southern. I'm a Southern sweet tea and cornbread brother. So that's just who I am. But Get You Some is health, happiness, and prosperity. It's for salespeople, but it's not about making money. It's about building a better life and then making a better living by building a better life.
Now, you're a guy that sets big goals and follow through. You have such of an amazing story in terms of how it is possible to change your life. Definitely the challenging aspect doesn't come to the forefront when you share stories like, yeah, well, I didn't have a drink for 4 years. It sounds great, but for me, I've realized it doesn't really paint the story of the challenges that one faced. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say that's accurate because everyone talks about 4 years. Everyone talks about and I haven't had a drink now in 7 years.
Wow.
So that was 4 years. So I've not had an alcoholic drink in 7 years. And so that sounds great. Everyone talks about that. Everyone talks about I've ran a mile every day for 5 years, which I've ran a mile every day for 5 years except one, or I've lost all this weight, or I've done all these things. Everyone looks at the results, but the results aren't how you get things done, and the results aren't the hard part. The hard part is every day, 1 foot in front of the other. And I swear this is true. I couldn't have planned this any better. So I haven't had a drink in 7 years. And I tell people every once in a while, but occasionally, about once every 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that, I have a dream where I look down and I'm drinking a beer. It just suddenly, magically, a beer has appeared in my hand and I've just drank half of it and realized, oh, I don't drink anymore. Why is this beer in my hand? Why did I do that? So 7 years in, my brain is still telling me that, I want a beer. And, I haven't had the struggles with quitting drinking with a lot of people other had, but I struggle with a lot of other things. And it's all in the daily basis, getting up every day to run my mile when I don't want to. And you would think after 5 years, it's easy, and you just jump out of bed and you've built the habit and you go do it. But every day my brain is telling me, I don't want to go run. It's, sometimes it's cold outside and sometimes I just feel like lazy. And sometimes Game of Thrones is on TV and I want to watch Game of Thrones, so, but the struggle is the hard part every day, but that's the only way to get things done. Every day, 1 foot in front of the other.
When you're speaking with someone who's sounding like this, like, I'm not sure if I want to do it, or I'm not sure if I can change, how does someone like you, who's made the decision to change habit and then put the action into, how do you approach that conversation with that person?
Well, I tell them the story about the guy and the elephant. How do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And I know you don't want to change. I mean, change is hard, but let's go walk today, right now. Put on your shoes and let's go for a walk, or let's go get a drink of water, or let's do the thing that we want to do, or let's do a thing that's going to get it closer to who we want to be, and let's think about doing the action, and let's go do it right now, whether you want to or not. And that's why they call it work. If it was all playtime, we would just play. But so you have to do the work, and that means doing stuff that you don't want to do sometimes, but you don't have to do a lot of it. You just have to do a little bit. I was having this conversation with my daughter last night. There's two hard parts for everything. The hardest part is starting, and the second hardest part is keeping on. To keep going. But starting is the hard part. But all you have to do is tell yourself, I'm going to go to a little. And I've used a couple of different techniques. I use a thing called the Pomodoro technique. Where I commit to doing something for 25 minutes. I'm going to sit down and write for 25 minutes, or I'm going to clean the kitchen for 25 minutes, just because I can talk myself into doing it if there's a time limit. If I know on the other side of this I don't have to do it, or taking tiny habits. I'm only going to go walk a mile. I'm only going to go walk to the mailbox, and that's why I've got a lot of people started on walking and running. Listen, you don't have to commit to running a marathon. You don't have to do a 5K. You don't even have to run. If you'll just go walk today, go walk to the mailbox, go walk around the block, just get started, get up and get going, whether you want to or not.
Now, there are two things that are going on in the background as well, just to bring the conversation to a reality check, right? Which is you are around 33 years of marriage, probably 34, and there are two other daughters, right? The one you spoke about just now, right, and the two other, right? So how are they being impacted by everything that you've decided to be and be?
There's this great video on the internet, and I love this video. If you go find it, but there's this video. There's 100 metronomes sitting on this piece of plywood. 100 metronomes sitting on a piece of plywood, and they're all started, and they're all clicking, tick, 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 and they're in their own little rhythm. One's going this way, one's going that way, and they're going 100 different ways and 100 different times. And they're sitting there, and you watch this video for 15, 20, 30 seconds, and gradually all of those videos, all of those metronomes, they get into sync. They get into sync because everyone likes to talk about how you're the average of the 5 people you hang around, but the people who hang around you are an average of you. You're affecting lives. You're a receiver and a broadcaster. So since I've started this, I started running every day, 5 years ago, and my wife and my kids looked at me like I was crazy. 2 years in, my wife started walking every day. Just out of sheer persistence. She's watched my dumb self go out there every single day in the rain and the mud and the snow and whatever. She said, "Well, I'm going to go do this," and she started walking a mile every day. She's lost about 40 pounds. She's walked every day for 3 years now. So she started right after the last time you and I talked. One of my older daughters, I have twin older daughters. One of them has started running a mile every day, and she hates running every single day. She comes back. I hate it. I never imagined that I would be running every day, but she's been running every day for 3 years, and now she's going to. She goes to this class called Pound that she loves to go to, where they're banging on drums and doing up. So she's exercising a lot more, living a lot healthier. So I've got two of them, one daughter and one wife on the everyday exercising train, and my other two daughters, they're not every day, but they do a little. My greatest joy in the world, and one, I can't tell you how happy it makes me, and two, I can't tell you how much money it saves me. If we all go out to a restaurant, if we all go out to a restaurant and we sit down to order, and the waitress comes by and asks what we drink, it's like water, 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 water. So and then they look at us, all 5. Oh, that's easy. So they go back and get the water. So we're all drinking water instead of soda or pop or tea or booze or whatever. So we ordered these 5 waters. I figured that's got to save me $2,000 or $3,000 a year just on water. And the fact that it's making them healthier and better is the most important thing to me. So that that's one of my greatest joys is everybody going out to eat and all ordering water to drink.
Truly, on this podcast, bringing the inspiration, bringing the motivation is so important to us so that others can understand that they too can achieve by making a choice, by deciding to change a habit. Terry, you are the champion. Well done, my friend. I do appreciate coming back here and hearing that you've not given up, as well as that you're alive, right? But that you've not given up. And I think it's remarkable. It's remarkable what this has evolved into and the energy which your voice transcends from what it was before to what it is today. Now, is there a spiritual side that keeps this all grounded?
I tell everyone if when people start to speak to me about religion, I am a spiritual person. I believe in a higher power. I'm not an organized religion person. I don't really follow organized religion, and it's not something that I practice or think about too much. But I'm definitely spiritual. I believe there's a higher power, and I believe we're all part of the higher something. And I think everyone probably comes at it and gets to it in a different way. I tell you what, I haven't really spoken about this. I've had a different kind of a major mindset in my spirituality. I saw a preacher on TV just a couple of months ago. He was talking about the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament in the Christian religion. And he said the Old Testament has got all these rules and regulations, and we talk about the 10 commandments, but they've actually got 660 some odd commandments that they were all. That was the old covenant. That was the covenant that the Lord had with the Jewish peoples at that time. He said, but this preacher said that doesn't apply to you. That's all about them. All those rules and regulations. The new covenant, the New Testament, which is what the Christian religion is based on, is only has one commandment. There's only one thing that you should do. And Jesus said, love each other as I have loved you. And that's all it is. That if you sum up the whole Bible and you sum up everything from most major religions, it boils down to that. Spread the love. Love each other. And so that's how I'm trying to live my life right now. Connect with as many people as I can, create health, happiness, and prosperity for as many people as I can. Spread the love.
For those that are listening, where's the best place for them to go to connect with you, Terry?
I'm on the internet. Just Google Terry Lancaster or hit terrylancaster.com. I'm always there.
Love it. Terry, again, a pleasure. I treasure. Before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I love you. Tell everybody. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbor. I love you.
Terry Lancaster loves you. Terry, I love you, champion. Love your voice. Love what you represent. Thanks again. Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.